Mike Ippoliti here with another Job Progress gem for you. This time we're going to be talking about financials, invoicing, profit and loss. So our job's currently in progress. You see here that we do have it scheduled. Let's go ahead and click on financials on the bottom left and take a look at that total job price. So here we are, we got our total job price, that's in there, we're good to go. Now, some of my contractors do invoicing differently. Some of them are using QuickBooks Online, some are using desktop, some are using Peachtree, Sage, whatever the case may be. We do integrate fully with QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. It's a one-way communication, so as you enter your information into Job Progress and create that invoice, it'll automatically bring your customer, your job, and that created invoice directly into your QuickBooks account. Once you receive your payments through Job Progress, again, you would link them to your invoice. It would automatically transfer and copy over into your QuickBooks account, allowing you to match those records based off of your bank statements with the money that's coming in. So let's take a quick look. We have our total job price. Now we want to go ahead and hit our create invoice. Some of my contractors will create their invoice right from their estimate with all those line items. Some of them will create a full invoice for the entire amount. Others will create a partial invoice for, let's say, 30% of the job. All of those are available inside of Job Progress. If I'm doing a partial invoice, I would do it under my total job price, click my plus sign, and let's say that I only want to do this for 0.33% of the job. Once I click out, you'll notice that the subtotal would only be for that amount. So if you were emailing this or sending this over to your homeowner, or if you were connected with QuickBooks or QuickBooks Pay, they could pay for it directly through Job Progress via QuickBooks, and now you can collect that amount that you created that invoice for. So this is if you were doing a partial payment. Once you saved it, you would go ahead and click the same little plus sign icon. It'll create another partial invoice for you, and then you could send that on out to your homeowner or business owner. Generally speaking, though, if we're just creating an invoice, we have our total job price. We can hit the big blue create invoice button in the top right corner. From here, if you wanted to edit when the bill on date, enter in a unit number or a due date, you have the ability to do so. Your invoice number is going to automatically populate for you. And then, of course, your balance due is going to show you whatever's owed once you finally hit that save button. So it's going to populate with just an activity, single activity line item for you with your total rate. A lot of my guys will come in here and, they'll edit this. Tamco roof system, 30-year. As you see here, the information that I'm typing in is pulling from our database. So if you had something already created that you like to basically title and use, you could pull that up directly from here. Once we're ready, if we had to add in additional line items, we can go ahead and do so. Otherwise, you can enter in your note, hit your create button once you're done, and now you have a created invoice. So you'll notice that instead of create invoice, it now says view invoices in the top right corner. So upon clicking that, it's going to show you any invoices that you have in here, as well as allow you to view a cumulative, which is going to be the culmination of all invoices, change orders, and supplements that you have created for this account. So let's go back for a second. Let's say that they gave us a payment, the homeowner, for $2,000. So under payment received, we're going to hit our little plus sign and receive that payment. We'll go ahead and type in $2,000. Payment type, let's go ahead and say cash. And then I'm going to make sure I hit my link to invoice button because I want this payment to reflect on my created invoice. So we go ahead and select it. You'll notice that it gives us what our pending amount is. And then once I hit save, our amount owed is now going to reflect those changes. So just like that, I took in my payment, whatever it was. It's calculated inside of here. I see that's been applied, and I see that this is what my amount owed is. But let's say that we're getting through it, and we need to get some more OSB. We hit our plus sign. We got a nice little change order coming in. Hit your pencil. Change this to say whatever you want it to say. Let's just do change order. Of course, if you have multiple divisions, you can click your little pencil icon and change those divisions based off of which one applies to you. And let's just say this is going to be OSB plywood additional, and it's going to be, let's say that we're doing $55 a sheet, and we had 3 additional sheets. So we enter that information in. If I was with my homeowner, I can request that customer signature right here and now. Otherwise, I can create with an invoice, without an invoice, whichever I want to do. Typically, I want to create it with my invoice, though, especially if I'm connected to QuickBooks. So I hit my create with invoice button. Now I'm going to have 2 invoices in there. One is my job invoice, and the other is that change order that I just created. So upon clicking view invoices in the top right, Now I have both of them in there. And now if I click on my cumulative invoice, this is how it's going to show. So I got my change order, I got my payments that are populating in here. Everything is showing up according to how I set it. And of course, if there's any credits on the account, additional payments received, entering in a commission for the sales guy, you have the ability to attach a commission with each one of those guys. So if I chose Brad, for example, I could have it auto-populate with his 10% that was going to be pulling in from. Whatever the option is I need to perform, I have the ability to do so. So just like that, a couple clicks of a button, I could enter in that commission. And now when I'm looking at my commission report, I know exactly who's owed what, when they were billed for it, and when I need to pay it out. Same thing with your amount owed. As you're receiving these payments, as you're creating change orders, your amount owed is going to change based off of these factors. If we're entering in a credit, maybe we broke a window, I want to go ahead and credit them $500 for a broken window. I can go ahead and choose my invoice that I'm attaching it to, hit my save button, and again, those changes are going to reflect for me. So as far as the financials go in JobProgress, it's pretty cut and dry. A lot of times people will have instances where they received in a payment, like let's say that we're taking in $2,500, and let's say that it was a check, 1111, and let's say that they forget to hit this link to invoice button. So a lot of times I'll have contractors reach out saying, Mike, how come my payment isn't showing on my invoice? And it's simply because it went in as an unapplied amount. So in the event that it is unapplied, you'll notice that a third icon populates for us when that wasn't there prior to me entering in that payment. And if I hover over it, it says apply received payments to invoices. So in the event that I did forget to link it to my invoice, I can click that icon, I can go ahead and locate that payment, locate that invoice, and type in that amount that I want it to reflect on. And just like that, I've taken an unapplied amount, applied it to my invoice, and now everything is going to look correct when I open up my accounts receivable report. So just like that, all my information is now current, it all populates correctly, and I can continue with the process with whatever I was doing. You have a tool called the profit and loss analysis inside of financials, and this is a very, very powerful tool. So if you're entering in your costs for your materials and your labor, and let's say you created that estimate, you could actually use your select worksheet option to choose that created estimate and pull that in with all of those line items. So this way, no more recreating, no more putting all these items in. Click a button, it all populates for you, and then you actually have the ability on the right-hand side of each line item to attach an invoice number, a check number, or even pull a file. So let's say if you had a copy of that invoice from your supplier, you can attach it directly to your line items. So 6 months, 6 years down the line, you can come back into that job in JobProgress and get the information that you need. A lot of my contractors do it this way. I do have quite a bunch that will do their profit and loss a little bit differently. So instead of doing all these individual line items, I do have some contractors that will do just a couple line items. Maybe this will be my materials total. And then I've got my labor total, entering whatever those amounts are. Let's say that my materials total, let's say that we're at $42.50 and my labor total is going to be $22.75. Put those in as one quantity, and now I know that I'm projecting to make $4,000 on this job. And this is my projected quantity and cost. If I wanted to use my actual, I could simply click this button that says also use actual quantity and cost. Go ahead and copy over those results. And let's say that we're accounting for some additional plywood, right? So it wasn't projected, so I'm going to skip over these, go right over to my actual. Let's say that it was 55, and my quantity is 3 sheets. And this way I'm accounting for that actual cost versus what was projected, because I wasn't assuming for that. I wasn't projecting it. So now I can actually see, okay, we thought we were going to hit a 34.89% margin. When all was said and done, it was only 33.49. So it's a quick and easy way for you to go ahead and see exactly what numbers you need to hit, how you're hitting them, and identify what changes need to be made. Of course, as always, there's a printer-friendly version. So if I wanted to see, all that information in one centralized location, print it out and hand it out to the guys, I have a way of doing so. if I wanted to find out, why is it that we only hit this margin, we were supposed to hit this. This gives you the tools and the availability to get the information that you need to make the changes that have to be made. Along with financials, again, we do integrate, like I said, with QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop. We will help you set up those accounts, your profit and loss analysis, whether we're looking at it, company-wide or we're looking at it on a job-by-job basis, is a very important tool to take advantage of. So even your sales performance report and seeing what those total dollar values are and your referral sources, these are all tools that can be taken advantage of to get the big spectrum or the large picture of where the company is at and what needs to be changed. What do we have to start doing differently in order to increase our profit margins, increase our markup, and start making more money on each job that we perform. And using tools like the reports that we have in here are exactly what's going to help you do that. So as always, if you need additional information or you want help or set up training so that we can figure out this information, teach you how to use the finances in JobProgress, or go ahead and integrate those QuickBooks account, feel free to give us a call, 844-562-7764 at extension number 2, or shoot on that email, support@jobprogress.com. Come give us a call, shoot us an email, let us know what you need. We're here to help.